It's your girl Bondy Blue, and yes, I am back for another 90-day fiance, you guys. This episode was long and explosive, all right? Explosive and long, god damn it. All right, so look, before we get into it, I just want to remind everybody about my credit repair service in which I help you get your credit fixed, all right? You just hit me up in my email, bondy.brittany@gmail.com to talk to me about it, and I will be going live this week for MFN advice. Hopefully I can get that done on Thursday. It will probably be early on Thursday though, not 8 p.m. like it normally is. It'll probably be like around maybe 5 p.m. on Thursday this week. So yeah, that's my hope and my dream is to go live, MFN advice, bondy.brittany@gmail.com. Hit me up with your advice letters. I have a lot that I've accumulated over the past couple of months anyway, since the last time I did one. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys and doing another live because I so enjoy doing those. So look for me Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Time. That's what I'm sticking to. If it changes, I will let you guys know. I'll post something here on YouTube. I'll remind you guys. Follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter @BondyBlue so you can know, because I'll be talking to y'all on those platforms as well. So let's just go ahead and get into 90 Day Fiance and start with the family dish and tell. Okay, let's start with the family dish and tell. So if y'all was watching last week's episode, which I'm sure you were, you saw Pedro and Chantel's brother River get into a fight. You saw his sister Nicole get involved and bite River's face. He had scratch marks all over his neck. Chantel was crying. I can't believe this. Oh my God, why is this happening? Because, bitch, you can't keep your mouth closed about the things that go on between you and your husband. I know why you did it. I know. All right? I know you felt alone, but guess what? You're not alone. Pedro is alone. So you should have been a strong black woman and handled your business at your house and set his little sister straight instead of letting them run you up out your apartment because you feel like they're ganging up on you. I'd have set everybody straight. They'd have felt uncomfortable. They'd have been trying to find somewhere else to stay, okay? Look, I'm just telling you, you ain't gonna disrespect me in my house. It just don't go down like that. I'm not leaving my house so you and your fuck sister can feel comfortable after y'all basically bullied me the whole week that she been here. Boy down, and y'all right. But we're gonna get into that. I'm getting ahead of myself. We back at the family. They Chantel little, apartment that they live in. He done kicked over the salad. The fight broke out. They get him out. Even the sister was like, Junior, why did you do this? Junior, why did you attack him? So for Pedro to think that he did nothing wrong, you full of shit. Your sister even says you attacked. I almost feel like the sister had to jump in because that's just the rules, all right? If my brother get into a fight and it's her family, I got to jump in. That's my brother. So if that mean I had to bite and scratch this nigga, then that's what I had to do. Now let's reassess how this whole situation popped off, because even though I feel like Pedro is largely to blame for how this all went down, just because he refuses to just chill sometimes. Like, I felt like he doesn't know how to verbally handle her people, so he acts out physically, either by getting drunk, yelling, cursing somebody out, walking away, or kicking over a fucking salad bowl of Costco food, okay? It just was too much. But I think he got offended because River was like, nigga, don't talk to my mama like that. And those are the cultural differences, okay? He sees black, so he's going to talk to you like he would talk to another black person, an African-American person in a situation like this. But because Pedro is not African-American, he is Dominican, he found some great disrespect in him calling him nigga, okay? Then he stands up, River knocks the lantern into Pedro's face, which was absolutely nothing. But Pedro went around the table and was ready to put them paws on River because of that. So in this situation, I do feel like River, you are very much to blame. You escalated this situation. You did not have to hit that thing in his face. I felt like you wanted that action. Once y'all was both standing up, I felt like both of y'all wanted to fight. But I do feel like Chantel, the family Chantel, is partially to blame because they stay with the bullshit. Why couldn't we get through a meal without the intergestion of Chantel's mama asking questions with this underlying tone? They think that people are stupid and don't realize what they're doing, but you're accusatory. You're not having a conversation. Y'all just pleasantly bullying the fuck out of Nicole and Pedro as they were sitting at the table. And Pedro, when you was like, doing that offended the mama and all of that type of shit. But I do feel like y'all just keep going and going and going. You don't care how uncomfortable the conversation is. You don't care how heated it's getting. Y'all still persist on making a point that Nicole was lying about what she said about Chantel and that Pedro is letting it all happen. And I blame Chantel, because Chantel, you should keep some of this shit between you and Pedro and handle it like a grown woman instead of running to your family. And now they feel like they need to fight on your behalf because in their minds you've been bullied. And they have to correct the situation because they already don't like Nicole. They already don't like Pedro. And you just give them excuses to act how they want to act off rip. And that is partially your fault too. Everybody has some blame in this situation. It's not just Pedro. It's not just Nicole. And it's not just Chantel and the family. Chantel, Pedro. It's not just them either. You got out of pocket. You did not have to do all of that. You especially didn't have to kick over the Costco salad. But you just had to let everybody know how upset you were, and it wasn't right. So now Nicole isn't, I'm sorry, Lord, I'm saying Nicole. Now Chantel isn't going home, okay? Chantel was pissed off and decided to stay with her sister. She spent some time talking to her friend Gigi, and that's when we find out that Pedro had been texting and calling and she wasn't answering, but she felt like he was trying to butter her up, and that's all cool and everything, but she is very pissed off about the bite on her brother's cheek and the scratches on his neck. She is upset about that. Did I mention how the mama was yelling that Pedro and Nicole are muy malo, mami family? Like, just kept saying in Spanish that they were bad for the family and yelling out that they were gonna get deported, and somebody called immigration. And I was just like, this is when she shows her prejudice. Like, really, Mom? Really? That's what you keep screaming out? And why are you screaming it out in Spanish? The whole time y'all were arguing when they were there, you were speaking English for the most part. And now you yelling to the fucking camera people who I'm sure understand English in Spanish how bad they are for your family. Girl, you have issues, okay? Chantel mama, you have issues. And Chantel daddy, you are just a pawn, okay? We all know that you're just running behind your wife and doing whatever it is she tells you to do. And River, I know you think you have a mind of your own, but you're like a sullen, aggravating, annoying fucking teenager. And I know you don't like Pedro, but you out of pocket as fuck too. And the sister with her little slick ass comments with Nicole, y'all was just doing the most. When a girl said she didn't say it and it was getting heated, y'all should have just let the shit go, but y'all couldn't do that. Either way, all the blame, okay? Like I said, Pedro had been hitting Chantel up, but she was ignoring him until finally she decided to go home. When she walked in the door, he's pissed off because she hasn't been home in a couple of days and she hasn't been answering his phone calls. She asked, where's Nicole? He said, I sent her home because she didn't feel safe with the family that Chantel. Okay? All right? After what happened, she didn't feel safe. I'm like, bitch, she the one that did most of the damage except for the fact that mama pulled her weave out. Mama was yelling about how bad Nicole and Pedro were for her family with Nicole's weave in her hands. I was like, lady, when y'all went down to the ground, you put that little girl hair on her head, didn't you? You are not right, okay? Even though I'm kind of laughing about it. And muy malo weave, just all in the hands, 2 tracks full of weave. Oh, Lord, I realized why Nicole wouldn't feel safe. That old lady pulled my fucking tracks out. It is time for me to go, all right? Look. They tried to have a conversation, but Pedro doesn't feel like he's wrong. He doesn't feel like he did anything wrong because that's how he feels. I felt like that, so that's what I do. That's what I do. And it's like, but you're still wrong. It doesn't matter if you don't feel like you're wrong. Sir, you're wrong. But I do understand why he was being so stubborn, because Chantel comes at him like nobody else did anything wrong. Even though I do feel like Chantel loves Pedro and she wants to work it out, he's so stubborn and refuses to take responsibility. It kind of backs her into a corner because she can't forgive you if you can't apologize for putting your hands on her brother. Even if he did start it by hitting you in the face with a lantern, you took it far and extra far. So just admit that you shouldn't have did what what you did, but she also has to meet him halfway and admit that her fucking family has ulterior motives. And if anybody had to set up to put pause on them, it was her family. She thinks that Nicole and Pedro came with the mind to fight her family. And I'm like, girl, your family outnumber and outweigh them. So why do you think that they came with hopes of fighting your mama, your daddy, your brother, and your sister, and you? Like, Pedro didn't want to fight your family, bruh. Your brother wanted to fight Pedro, and your mama wanted to put them paws on Nicole, and that's how we ended up having this altercation. Don't even for a second think that it wasn't the family of Chantel, all right? Y'all, but she don't want to admit that. She goes into the room because she's tired of him. He's like, Chantel, please come out. You know, he eventually kind of softens up because I really feel like Pedro loves Chantel. Pedro does not want to lose Chantel, but he feels alone, and him being stubborn and not understanding certain things. Like, it's just, I just see the language barrier a lot and the cultural barrier a lot. And also him being so, I think that he was sheltered in the way that a Dominican man can be sheltered by his mom and his sister and his family. I think he was sheltered in a way and always catered to, and he does not see how his actions have caused some of the things that have happened, and how he needs to change himself as well. And it's not all on Chantel and her family. I don't think he understands that, but he needs to understand that in order for their relationship to work out. And he's like, I just need to go to DR for a vacation. And she says, that's fine, bye, because I'm not coming with you, okay? Chantel feels like she need a break too. So he need to go and be with his family and do whatever he needs to do, but they need a break because they don't know where this marriage is going. And I feel sad because I feel like they probably the only couple on this whole show that really love each other. And if their relationship doesn't work out because of something that really could have been dealt with, if they will go to therapy, especially if they can go to therapy with somebody that can speak his language, you know, can speak Spanish and kind of understand him as a man and understand her as a woman and understand, you know, where her family's coming from. They need somebody that can meet them in the middle and force them to accept that, okay, you might be right about this, but you're wrong about this. And Chantel, you may be right about this, but you're wrong about this. Like, they need somebody who's objective in a situation, and everybody who they go to for comfort is somebody that has a bone in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really have beef. Her family don't like him. Her family don't like her and her family. So you can't go to your families to talk about your relationship if they aren't supportive of your relationship. It's not going to work out. So I feel bad for them. Nicole and Azan found out last episode that they didn't have the correct paperwork in order to try to get the marriage license so that she can get her marital visa, and then they can, you know, go back and forth to America, whatever. However, it's all supposed to work out. She got to get her visa so she can stay as his wife, and that's when they try to get the spousal one for him and move back to America. Like, all of this takes paperwork, all of this takes time, all of this takes money. And apparently Nicole did not do her research the way she should have, because she just had a copy of her police report, her police record, and not a certified signed copy. And that's an issue. So now she has to tell her mom that the wedding is being pushed back. And her mom has already come all the way out here to Morocco for the wedding. And her mom is upset, and Nicole, when she knows she's wrong in a situation, she does this thing where she just gets quiet and doesn't say anything. And it's almost like you don't know whether she understands if she's wrong or not, because she doesn't want to say anything. But really, she just doesn't know how to handle it, and she doesn't know how or what to say. And she has to realize that you need to show some humility in this situation, because this is your fuck up. And I think she handled the situation with her mom wrong, and she handled the situation with Azan's mom and sister wrong, because she really could not say anything to them. She wasn't even vocal enough to be apologetic in a way that would make the situation better. It just kind of seemed like she retreats and just doesn't say anything and wants to force Azan to say most of it, and that's not fair because she's the one that made the mistake. But either way, her mom was like, you're going to have to tell your daddy, because you have people coming here. You have people flying all the way here for this, and you have to call your dad and tell him, because he was supposed to be coming next with his wife. So she calls the dad. And of course, the dad is like, maybe you need to just see this as a sign that this is something you don't need to be doing. But y'all know Nicole does not want to hear that. And with Azan sitting right there, she feels uncomfortable and upset that her dad would say that, you know, on the phone with him sitting right there. And then she turns around and asks for her dad to get the paperwork for her and, you know, mail it to her so that they can go forth with the wedding. And if all of that goes as planned, they'll only be pushing back the wedding a month. The only people that this doesn't really hurt are her parents. But when they take it to Azan's mom and sister, who have been paying for everything, who have been orchestrating everything, they're pissed. Mom doesn't even say anything. The sister is the one that spent $6,000 of her money on this wedding. So she's pissed off. And she says that she doesn't want to hear any more about it until they have the paperwork that they need and they can get that marriage license. Until then, she doesn't want to hear anything else about it. She just keeps telling Azan to tell them how sorry she is. And it's like, bitch, you need to start trying to learn their language. If you want to be with him, if you want to be married to him, if you want to live here for the next 90 days, it will behoove you to learn how to say, hello, how you doing? And I'm sorry in their language, bitch, okay? It will behoove you. Give some type of effort to show that you are sorry for the money that has been wasted. And I feel like that's probably where the sister's angst was coming from, because she seemed to not really be sorry about the loss of $6,000 that this lady paid for this damn wedding. That's a lot of money. You know, and I'm sure it's a lot of money for them. They don't seem like they have a shitload of money. They seem like they have humble life, but yet know how to save and pay, you know, and pay their bills properly. They just seem like they got their shit together and they don't need somebody taking advantage of their situation. And Nicole very much seems like somebody that's taking advantage of a situation because she doesn't know how to vocalize how sorry she is. Y'all, whatever. So Nicole's mom has a conversation with Azan because she feels that there are some things that she wants to get clear about, and Nicole never allows her to ask anything or say anything without shutting her down. So they kind of go off on their own and have a conversation, and she wants to know what he's hiding. And he admits that he had conversations and relationships with other women all over the world, and that basically Nicole was just one of many, and he was keeping his options open. And Nicole's mom is very upset by this, but you know, she keeps her calm. She's still very respectful, and all that she asks of him is to be honest with her daughter and tell her the truth. She doesn't even act a fool about it. She just lets him know that that's not what she wants for her daughter, and he needs to tell her the truth. So Nicole's mom has to leave and go back to America, and after he takes the opportunity to tell Nicole the truth about everything. And he kind of does it little by little. Like at first he says, you know, I said that I was drunk and it was just a joke, but that wasn't true. I had been sending text messages and flirting and talking to other women. And then he says that, you know, it's been other women this whole time. You know, even though me and you started talking and I asked you to marry me, I was still talking to other girls. And Nicole is just getting more and more and more emotional and upset as the conversation keeps going, because he keeps revealing shit to her as they talk, not all at once. And she's just like, I don't even know how I can keep going in this relationship when I'm worrying about if something happens, you're just gonna go and be with another woman. You know, that's what happens when you're untrustworthy and you have other romantic relationships with other women, and you decide you want to marry one of them, but you still keep the relationships going with the other women. Now you're creating doubt. Now she's not going to trust you. And she knows that she's done things, but she feels like he would never have told her if her mom hadn't pressured him into telling her. And now she doesn't know if she really wants to marry him. She actually thinks that maybe them not getting the paperwork done like they needed may have been the best thing for her, because now she's second guessing whether she should really be marrying somebody that she can't trust. And I'm surprised that Nicole has this much sense. I gotta tell you. I'm like, wow, really? But she still hasn't left Morocco, because next week we have like their little reunion show, and she does not seem to, you know, I mean, she seems hurt and stuff, but she's still sitting next to him in Morocco, which makes me feel like she's still very much planning on going through with this wedding, regardless of the fact that she just learned he's been unfaithful to her this entire time. Okay? So David and Annie have to move into this storage facility because it's their only option besides being under a bridge some fucking where, okay? David does not want to get a regular, you know, 9 to 5 or 6 to 10, bitch, whatever. He doesn't want to get a regular job. He does not want to get some low-paying job just so that they can have money, so that they can put a roof over their head, pay their bills, and make sure they got food. He doesn't want to do that. He'd rather keep resting on his fucking elbows and move into this storage facility and work for Chris, his friend, who is always still saving the day, regardless of the fact that he is taking all of his support away from him. He's still supporting him by allowing him to work at one of his businesses and live there as a result of, you know, working there. And I kind of feel like Chris is still showing love to you, even though he doesn't have to, because you are a fucking user, David. And Annie is just not having it. She tells him that if they have to move into that storage facility, she is not moving with him. She is going back to Thailand. And then he just starts blubbering. And she's just like picking lint off his shirt with a stale face. With a unit on my face, so mean. She don't give a fuck. Like, she doesn't care, y'all. She, like, you could just tell she is totally removed emotionally from this situation. His tears are doing nothing for her. And I understand why she feels that way. I really do. Like, you promised me all of the world and you're giving me nothing. After he finishes blubbering and she's picked all the lint off his shirt, she decides that she's just going to go with him. And I feel like that's because she just really doesn't have a choice. If you don't go with him now, you're going to have to, you know, either get on the plane tonight and you don't seem like you're going to do that. Even though I think she can call Chris and just be like, say, Chris, I want to go back home. Can I take you up on that offer? But she decides to stay with him and they move into the storage facility and she's still not happy. She's doing it with him. She's helping him, but she is not happy at all. And she doesn't know if she's going to stay. And he doesn't know if he's going to go work and then come home one day and she's going to be gone. So they in the confessional just crying because she feels miserable. Like on the way there, she was like, I feel like I want to die. And I'm like, you feel like you want to die? You feel like you want to die? You need to go back to Thailand if you feel like you want to die. This is not that deep. Like, I guess she's not as in love with him as she thinks she is. Because if you was in love with him, bitch, you wouldn't feel like you wanted to die just because y'all had to move into a storage facility when y'all was already living at the top of a firehouse. It's not like it was a much better situation in the first goddamn place. But no stove will do that to you. Anyway, she says she gonna stay. And that makes me think that she really is probably staying to get her citizenship. And I mean, I don't know what y'all want me to feel about that. I'm not mad about that neither. I just kind of feel like I don't like David. and that's pretty much the gist. Y'all, and Fiza and George and this baby mama drama, y'all. So they finally have this conversation over the phone with the woman who claims to be George's BM, all right? 10-year-old daughter that he doesn't even know her name. They get on the phone and he's like, you know, so why were you like picking on my wife? Like, you know, what's the issue? Why are you picking on my wife? And she's like, excuse me, she really don't have nothing to do with this, all right? I made one comment, and the comment was, George needs to be paying for his child instead of spending all his money on your ugly ass. That was like kind of what she said. She just basically called Infiza ugly, all right? And we all know Infiza got some strong fucking features, all right? So we'll let bygones be bitches and let that go, because she feels some type of way about the fact that he has a child that he's never seen about, that he's never taken care of, that he doesn't give a fuck about, but he on television acting like he about to marry somebody and be the family man. So she was feeling some type of way and wanted Infiza to know that. And she's been hitting up Infiza, and I feel like she's doing that because there's no use to talking to him. He's not going to care. He hasn't cared this whole time. That little girl 10 years old and he don't even know her fucking name. So they get on the phone and he basically trying to get her together about how she handled Infiza, which is what Infiza wants. But she gets emotional and says that she doesn't deserve this because she let him be a fucking child and live his life and not have anything to do with their child, even though he knows that that's his child. And he says it's not his, it's not his. You know, I don't know why you keep saying that. I said I would get a DNA test. You know, it's not my kid. And she's like, what are you talking about? If it's not your kid, then why do you call me out of the blue and ask how she's doing? Why did you take us shopping at one time? And then in his confessional alone, mind you, he says that, well, you know, I've jokingly said that I'm the father. You know, I'll be like, yeah, I'm the father, ha, ha, ha. But I was just trying to be nice. I'm just her friend. Like, what? George, what the fuck are you talking about? Nobody jokes and takes somebody shopping and says that they're the father of the baby as a joke. Nobody says that. Nobody does that. You're a liar and you're a fucking jerk and you're a piece of shit if you think that that's a joke. If you think that's okay to joke about this child's life. For you to have a child and think that it's a fucking game, it's something that you don't have to worry yourself with. It's something you can lie about and just only throw a few dollars to or ask about when you feeling bad in the moment. You're a terrible person, George. I just want to let you know that through my review. You're a bad person, okay? And then Fiza, you're a fuck girl because the only reason you cared was because you wanted him to check that woman. And when it comes down to it, you realize that she's hurt and has every right to feel how she feels. And now you're worried about whether she's going to come after you for child support. Y'all ain't got no fucking money. Y'all ain't got no money. He ain't got no money. And you worried about them coming after you for child support. Really, Aunt Fiza? What happened to all of that? I didn't have a dad and that's not right shit. Whatever happened to that? Now the only thing you worrying about is money and the fact that he didn't check her hard enough to suit you. Like, really, bitch? I'm looking at both of y'all like y'all ain't shit. I'm looking at y'all like y'all deserve each other because y'all both some miserable fuck girls and boys. You sitting up there lying about whether the child is yours when you know that child is yours. And then Fiza, you trying to act like you care about the fact that he has a child he doesn't take care of when really you just care about whether she gonna be able to pop up and ask for some change. Really? Then, when the producers was trying to hit them up later on to find out if they ever got the DNA test since he agreed to go and get one, we find out that he got arrested for over $500,000 worth of marijuana with intent to sell, okay? So he went to court and pleaded not guilty, but he's facing felony charges in Arizona and they do not play, all right? They do not play, all right? So, yeah. George is in fucking trouble. He might be in the jailhouse. Now he's in the jailhouse. Now he's in the jailhouse. Now he's in the jailhouse. Now, oh, fuck boy. So Molly finally meets up with Olivia, her teenage 17, 18-year-old daughter, who is still feeling some type of way about what happened with Luis. And Molly is very apologetic. She's like, I'm sorry that you feel like I put Luis before you, you know, but I really love you and you're what's most important in my life. And I can't say that it won't happen again, but I want you to come home. You don't think you want to come home? I'm slightly off on the accent, but that's all right. Don't worry about it. The bitch is country. You get the gist. And I'm just like, so you mean to tell me you're apologizing to Olivia and you want her to come back home, but you also can't promise her that you won't put another foreign man in front of her? Like, really, Molly? So y'all going skating and shit, and you think that's enough? Like, you just basically told your daughter that you might continue to fuck over her, but you still want her to come home. Like, I can't deal with Molly. And when we look back at it all, I do feel like that maybe Molly felt like she was hoodwinked, okay? And then we also found out from the internet streets that Luis was deported. And I can't say that I'm sorry because I'm not, because I don't like him. And I think he's an asshole, but I also don't feel like Molly is a victim. I feel like Molly chooses to be stupid sometimes and chooses to ignore things because it feels good for the moment. And I think that when it comes to your children's feelings, you ignore those as well. And that's why I don't really feel sorry for you, Molly. So we're going to just go ahead and move on to Russ and Powell. Powell has not been feeling the same ever since she came back from Colombia. She is still feeling some type of way about the fact that Russ has not really asked her about how she feels since her grandmother passed away and the miscarriage on top of that, and she's been feeling alone. And I kind of feel like Russ probably has tried, but it hasn't been enough, and he doesn't have the mindset to try to figure out another way to approach her. And this is an argument that I've seen happen between people often when there's a miscarriage because the woman feels as if the man doesn't really understand. And I feel like he's never really going to understand. The only thing he can do is be as sympathetic to your feelings as he can, and also at the same time show you that this is hurting him in some type of way so you don't feel like you're just by yourself and feeling the loss of a child that y'all never were able to see or hold, but that was very much in your body. So I do feel like she's putting an unfair amount of blame and pressure on Russ But I also feel like that's because she's looking for a reason to divorce him. I think she's looking for a reason to break up with him because she feels like maybe this is not the life she wants anymore. Maybe she wants to go back to Colombia and be a hot girl and be a thot with her friend and be out here doing whatever, Jose, whatever his name is, I forgot, Juan, whatever. I don't care. I don't like him. All I know is I think she's playing a blame game, and I think she's wrong, and I think that you are getting mad at him for not being around, but he's working. And then you say that everybody works. You're not making no sacrifice. You're not making a sacrifice, but he has made sacrifices for you. So for you to act like, Powell, you're the only one that's made sacrifices in y'all's relationship, that's not true. I think Russ has dealt with a lot from you and from your family, and he's still there for you. He just doesn't know how to be there in the way that you need him to be. But I don't think he's like just like fuck you, but I also feel like you like fuck him. I just feel like Russ and Powell are gonna break up. I feel like they're gonna break up, and their relationship is just not gonna work out, and that's just because they're not supposed to be together. They're two different types of people, and I think that Russ is not the guy for Powell. I think Powell needs somebody that's a little bit stronger, that's somebody a little bit more vocal, that can play back to her but still get her together, because right now Russ just kind of fights back, but he doesn't know how to handle her, and he doesn't know how to meet her on her level so that they're not always, you know, kind of jumping over each other. Like when she wants to be calm, he's upset. When he wants to be calm, she's upset. It's like they can never meet each other in the middle because she's so busy feeling like you will never understand. And he's like, well, I don't know how to understand if you don't talk to me. So they just keep saying the same thing over and over again, and I don't think it's going to work out. I just don't. But yeah, y'all, that's all I had to say about it. We'll see what they bring us next week for their little talk all, tell all reunion situation, which normally is more interesting than the whole season. So I can't wait to watch it. You guys, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you. I hope you have a good week. And I'll see y'all in the next review, which will be Power, Love and Hip Hop, and Basketball Wives. So see y'all in the next one.